Hello there, everyone. So this video is going to be on how to cite your genealogy sources, and I got a little bit art savvy here and used flashcards and markers, so bear with me on my random little creative tangent that I decided to travel upon. So let's get started. So the first rule is move from general to specific. See, general to specific. So you're going to move from the information that is really, well, vague, I guess you could say, to the stuff that's very specific, kind of self-explanatory. Alright, so now I'm going to give you a bunch of things you might want to include in your source. But first, we're going to go over these terms that I've gone over with you guys once before. So here it is, primary and secondary. So primary sources, if you don't already know, are sources that were created at the time of the event, while secondary sources were created later and not around the time of the event. So for example, a primary source could be a birth certificate. Family Bibles are often that way. Let's see. However, if you saw a marriage certificate, that would be a primary source document for the marriage, but not for the birth, even though it lists the birth, because it wasn't created when the person was born. It was created when they were married, which is usually a great deal later. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Alright, so now we'll go over a bunch of stuff that you're probably going to want to include in your sourcing. These aren't in any particular order because I'm not going to go over the proper way to cite your sources, because unless you're a professional genealogist, it's not needed. As long as you put enough identifiable information into your source, you'll be fine. So here are a few things you might want to keep in mind. So you have the publisher. Publishers are generally very important, especially when you're dealing with books, but oftentimes databases and search engines will have a publisher of some sort. So that brings us to database, and that just can be the name of the database. And generally you want to put where you found it, but that will go there later. URL. That is the web address for where you found your information. So you could just kind of click up there in your address bar and click copy and paste it on in there. So let's see, next we have the type of record, and that is pretty much crucial because you're going to want to know what you're looking at. If you cite Joe Blow's birth date was, the 5th of August, 1876, well, you're going to want something to prove it, and if in your sources, to double check where you got that information, you find Ancestry.com. Well, Ancestry.com is huge, so you're going to want to know their identifiable information. So, oh, hello, cat. Sorry. Down you go. So, that also brings me with Ancestry.com to this. Index versus image. So by that I mean there are indexes where someone has looked at the image or the microfilm or whatever it's kept on and has indexed it by listing what is there and pretty much writing it out or typing it out. However, indexes are prone to mistakes, just like anything else, human error, and oftentimes old handwriting is very difficult to read and the records aren't in the best of conditions, so that's why that's there. And the image is a great thing to look at, which is one reason why Ancestry.com is kind of awesome, because you can view the image for yourself and make your own opinions. So you can go, well, I don't really think that's right. I think they actually meant this. And that looks more like this letter to me. So that's a little bit better. So next, you have website. By website, it can be something very general, like Ancestry.com, Genealogy.com, RootsWeb.com, whatever it is. That can be on there, which is kind of important. You're also going to want to put the dates you found it. Why the date you found it? Because databases are often changing. And if you found it a long time ago, well, in 5 months, a month, a week, 10 years from now, it might not be the same. So you're going to want to put when you found it. And you're also going to want to put when it was when it was created. So by that, I pretty much mean when the database was created. And you might also want to put when it was last updated on there too. The next thing you're going to want to put is author, which is good for books, indexes, things like that. If it's more than 3 authors, then only list the first 2. And then at the end of it, you're going to put et al., which is et.all. So that's what you're going to put there. And the last thing, but not least, by all means, is numbers. These are some numbers you're probably going to want to know. And it depends on what you're looking at, if you're going to have it in there. But volume number, issue number, page number, sheet number, any number that you find, you're going to probably want to put it and include it. So, yes, let's see. So, the next rule for citing your sources is to cite what you see. So, not only the information about where you found it, because that's great and all, but you're going to want to know what it is you found. So, you are going to want to include all the categories of information. So if you're looking at a census from the U.S., let's say in 1920, you're going to want to see the occupation, if they own a radio, if they have served in the military, how everyone's related, what street they live on, their family number, their, anything that is listed there that is a category, put it there. That's going to be pretty important. And the next thing you're going to want to put are viewing issues. So, for example, maybe when you went to that family history library or when you were looking at that image online, it wasn't very clear. It was damaged in some way, dark in some areas, smeared, whatever it may be. You're going to want to include that. And the next thing you're going to want to include are index errors. Remember how humans make errors when it comes to those indexes? You're probably going to want to list those, so that way someone who's looking for Daniel Weston, for example, which is one of those people I'm looking for, if they come up with Camille Weston, you'll find out that that's actually the same Daniel Weston by looking at all the other people in the household. And it kind of looks like a C, but it also kind of looks like a D. And by looking at all the other information there, I could conclude that it was actually him. So that's why that was an index error. And lastly, you're going to want to include any other identifiable information. So anything else that can identify this person, this record, this surname, whatever it is, you're going to want to include it. So let's see, I guess that's about it. I'll include a few websites on the side for more specifics on how to cite your sources, because I kind of wanted to give you an introduction to it, since most of you already have a computer genealogy program that will organize your sources for you, because it's a pain in the butt to have to memorize how exactly to cite your sources. So just in case you don't have that, I'll give you a few websites on it. So there you go. That was it, and I hope you enjoyed my little creative art tangent. Alright, so bye guys.